Welcome back! Today we're gonna do a fun little video. We're gonna do a craft room tour. I'm gonna show you how I furnished and stocked this craft room on a pretty tight budget and in a very small space. Hopefully this will give you some little tips and help you design your own craft room if you're getting ready to build one, especially if it's in a small space. Most of the furniture that I got for this space is off of Amazon. It's decent and quite functional, so there's a lot of stuff on Amazon. A lot of it is crappy and junky, but I will share the links to some of the stuff that I bought that I've been using for the last few years and that has worked very well for me. They will be linked down below. My creative space for the longest time consisted of a small cabinet and a little space on the floor. You don't need a craft room to be able to craft and to make things and even to start a small business, but believe me, it helps. Once I got the Glowforge, I needed a space. We converted this little corner of the house into a craft room, and believe me, having your own workspace definitely makes all the difference. Now, on to the tour. Starting with my desk. I bought a simple yet sturdy black desk that has a fake wood grain surface. It looks nice, and most of my paints, resins, and random messes clean very easily off of it. I wanted to utilize the most space I could, so I picked a desk with a small shelf so I can get that little bit of extra space to use. It keeps my lamp out of the way. My crystal storage sits on top of the desk here for easy access when I'm working on jewelry. If you recognize my cutting mats, they are from Nerdforge, which is another really cool YouTube channel where they just make awesome stuff. Man, my little silhouette cameo lives under the shelf here and pulls out easily when I need it. This chair was a lucky find. I found it at Marshall's and it's quite comfortable for the many hours I spend in it. Under my desk I have this rolling drawer. This is the perfect way to give yourself extra space with another surface that can be easily put away when you're not using it. The storage drawer is definitely one of my favorite aspects of my workspace, since it has a lot of my most frequently used tools and things with an easy reach. The first drawer has a huge collection of clay tools, pliers, and cutters, followed by inks, alcohol markers, and colored pencils. Next we have some mica powders and resin molds. And then we have even more mica powders, flakes, and resin pigments. And the last drawer is more random resin tools and supplies. Most of my resin supplies did come from Amazon. One of the most important items in my craft room is my Sonos speaker. I spend hours upon endless hours in this room, and jamming out to music and listening to podcasts is a must when working. This sign has a little story. I saw it at Tjmaxx a few years ago, and I bought it when I first started my business. Ever since then, it has sat near my workspace, just reminding me the hours I spend doing what I love will one day be my ultimate freedom from the corporate world. Even now, I am closer to that freedom than I had ever imagined I would be when I bought the sign. On top of my crystal storage, I keep some things here since I use them all the time. For my paint brushes and deco-color pens, I keep them in regular pencil holders. There's so many fancy holders you can buy, but they end up taking up more space. Just use a simple cup. I went through too many crystal storage solutions to count, and finally found my ideal method using these tabletop drawers. I sort the crystals mostly by color, put them in little baggies, and label them all. It's simple and efficient, and I am never again pulling a million organizers out to find where that one crystal went. These came from Tjmaxx and were about 20 bucks, but you can find similar ones on Amazon or even from the Container Store. The bigger drawers are used for thank you cards, backing cards, and like fragile stickers for shipping, so this makes my packing a bit more streamlined. I also keep my epoxy clay and some copper wire here. Directly behind my desk, I keep my electroforming station. I actually put the entire station on a rolling cart, so if I need to, I can easily move it around, and it was less expensive than getting a wire shelf. I also call this my hazard corner since there are a lot of dangerous chemicals on here, hence the respirator mask. The very top of this cart has my baker's rack where my jewelry hangs from those handmade S-hooks, or lays on parchment paper depending on what stage of the process it is in. Glowforge Pro! This is the centerpiece of my craft room, and it sits on the most expensive piece of furniture I bought, which was this table. But I needed something super sturdy, and this table delivers. Below the Glowforge, I came up with a brilliant little hack and bought these no-tool shelves. They simply twist together very easily and are pretty budget-friendly. For how cheap these are, I do have a ton of weight stacked on it with my Glowforge fuel, and it holds up super well. So this keeps all my wood organized and is a great solution if you can't afford an expensive work table with drawers or do the IKEA table hack. I keep a little mini scraps disposal box and some quick tools I commonly use next to my Glowforge, so I don't need to be looking for them. My air assist fan is mounted to the wall, so it's not taking up any usable space on the table. And the controller for the air assist was mounted to a table leg with all the wires neatly tucked away. This just makes everything so much cleaner. The right corner of the room is for supply storage. I bought this nice 5-shelf cabinet. The messy stuff goes in here since you can't see it. Out of everything I bought, this cabinet was the only piece of furniture to sustain a bit of damage during shipping, but it's not very visible and doesn't impair the functionality, so it doesn't bother me too much. On top of the cabinet, I keep my security camera to watch my Glowforge, a Scentsy to chase away weird crafting smells, and another motivational sign, because you can never have too many. The top drawer fits most of my bubble and poly mailers and some extra packing tape. Then I have my clay, which comes from Cosclay USA, and some less frequently used tools, followed by a very precarious stack of resin molds. I'm always afraid these are going to fall out when I open this cabinet. The last 2 shelves are random jewelry making beads, findings, and some miscellaneous supplies. And the door stays shut with the magnet. The next shelf is a larger 7-shelf beast. Right now there is not a lot on it, but sometimes it gets loaded, so I wanted something with a sturdy metal frame that can hold weight. This is where I keep my shipping boxes, paints, glass jars, and vinyl. I found this really cool paint storage solution on Amazon called a hex hive that you can configure in any way you want. I stuck a piece of tape to the back of it so the paint bottles stay lined up mostly. And here's a quick tip: dab a drop of paint on the lid so you can see the actual color of your paint. I made a shelf for my photography background so I can pull them out whenever I need them. Below that, I have most of my jewelry making supplies like charms, findings, and beads in these thinner organizers. I found 2 styles that work very well. I have thicker organizers for larger charms and beads at the bottom of the stack, and then these smaller ones for findings are from a company called BoxBox. I found them at Tjmaxx, and they are perfect for all the tiny things. I keep all my vinyl in this plastic organizer. I was going to get a vinyl stand organizer, but in reality it takes up a lot more room than this one does. Next to it, I keep my glass jars that I will sculpt into apothecary jars eventually. Some of these are recycled bottles, so I don't have to keep buying new ones from the craft store. The last piece of furniture in here is this bookshelf. On the very top in that crate and box, I keep my little photo props, and then we have some random decor bits I also use in photos. I tend to also keep a lot of finished products or products I'm testing out on these shelves. And then the rest of it is some more random supplies, fabrics, and a handful of craft books. So it definitely took a while to get the room to this level of organization, and it took some trial and error and a couple things that I bought and then returned or bought and gave away to somebody else, especially the like organizers and everything. I was very into, you know, get all these storage boxes and things, and I gave a lot of them away, especially the ones from Michaels. I gave a lot of those away to people. I have a few organizers. Definitely less is more. You don't need as many as you think, and I mostly use them for like the very, very tiny things. One day I definitely want to get a much larger craft room, a much larger workspace. I would love to add a few new machines and things like 3D printers and all kinds of like woodworking tools, but I wanted to show you that you don't need to have a fancy craft room with all like the craft room furniture, because that stuff is very expensive. You just need a place that you can work, that keeps your creativity flowing, and a place that makes you happy to come down and work in every day. I love my little craft room. I love coming down here and working, and it definitely makes my life a lot easier having the space. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop it a like. If you would like to see some of the things that I have created, check out some of the videos linked down below. If you want to see some of the finished products, don't forget you can go check out my Etsy shop. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, help a little channel out, and see you next time.